Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyat Desatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Karvateva Pangum Nangaite Girin Yat Kupatam Ham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarine Krishna. So today we will see verse number 25 of chapter 6. Okay. Shanay Shanay Uparamed
Shanai Shanai Ruparame
Buddhya Dhriti Grihitaya
Vidyadri Gruhitaya
Atma Samstam Manah Krutva
Atma Samstam Manakrutva
न किंचित अपि चिंतयेत
Na Kinchita Vichintayet
शनै शनै उपरमेत
Shanai Shanai Ruparamet
बुद्ध्या धृति गृहीतया
Vidyadruti Gruhitaya
आत्मसंस्थं मनः कृत्वा
Atma Samstam Manakrutva
न किंचिदपि चिंतयेत.
Na Kinchita Vichintayet
Please chant.
शनैः शनैरुप्रमेद बुद्ध्या धृतिगृहीतया आत्मसंस्थं मनः कृत्वा न किञ्चित् अपि चिन्तयेत्.
Okay. So translation and purport. Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence, sustained by full conviction, and thus mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. Purport. By proper conviction and intelligence, one should gradually see sense activities. This is called pratyahar. The mind being controlled by conviction, meditation, and cessation of from the senses should be situated in trance or samadhi. At that time, there is no longer any danger of becoming engaged in material conception of life. In other words, although one is involved with matter, as long as the body, material body exists, one should not think about sense gratification. One should think of no pleasure aside from pleasure of the Supreme Self. This state is easily attained by directly practicing Krishna consciousness. So it's like yesterday's verse and this verse are basically two stages. So yesterday's verse was explaining how to start the spiritual practice. So give up all the material desires. That was the start, and the end is focus only on the self alone and should think of nothing else. And this verse also is very instructive for our uh, daily sadhana, japa that we do. So you see the word shane shane. So it's slowly, gradually, step by step. So yesterday's verse, Krishna also said that the mind will go here and there, but you should bring it back. You should bring it back. And now he's saying slowly, step by step, gradually. So just keep bringing mind back, focusing on the uh, activity, spiritual activity we are doing, and slowly, step by step, get fixed with the help of your intelligence. Mm. And dhriti grihitaya means the full confidence or full conviction. And just focus on the self. The mind should just focus on the self. Na kinchit api chintayet. So this word chintayet Srila Prabhupada said, should think of, should not think of. But chinta, chinta in Sanskrit or in other languages also, there is also one more meaning, right? Worrying about something or just thinking about something, what will happen. It's called chinta. So this sentence like na kinchit abhi chintayet means no need to think of anything, no need to worry about anything. Why we don't have to think or we don't have to worry? Because when we think or we worry, the mind gets more restless and the mind then wants to do something. But that stage of wanting to do something is not good for meditation, because that will entangle you, that will disturb more. So Krishna is saying, don't worry, don't think of anything, just focus on the self. And we have seen from the verse 20 to 23 that the mind has stopped, right? So how the mind has stopped? It has stopped desiring anything. So the consciousness is stopped. So when the consciousness is stopped, the focus is from the Paramatma on the self, right? Because Paramatma is active, uh, because it's on the spiritual level. The Paramatma is active, but the mind and other consciousness, which consciousness means the attention we were saying, right? We discussed. So that is stopped. So because that is material, but the spiritual things will go on. So in that situation, uh, only disturbance can be when the mind starts acting, or we start some desiring something. That time again the mind will become active, right? So Krishna is saying, if you combine these two verses, just the mind will keep going here and there, bring it back. And by doing this, step by step, try to focus with the help of intelligence. Mm. So this is what actually we are supposed to do when we do our sadhana practice. We do our chanting, or we do even reading also, or even hearing also. Sometimes we are not able to focus on reading, or we are not focused on hearing also. It becomes difficult. Uh, we we are hearing some lecture or some class or something for 30 minutes, but we can only remember 5 minutes. Other 25 minutes, maybe the mind took us something somewhere else. It happens while reading also, it happens. So every time it happens, we can remember these shlokas, shanay shanay, slowly, step by step. Every time you bring it back, every time you bring it back, and every time try to focus. And by this practice, you will attain the goal. So it's not that from these two verses we can see that Krishna himself is giving these suggestions or instruction because he knows our situation, what will happen. uh, and he also gives us benefit of doubt, what we say. You do mistake, okay, you bring it back. You do you again bring it back, and that's what Krishna is checking how much efforts are being taken. Right? And also we have to understand that when Krishna says gradually, that means it is a progressive way that will continue for over time period. We should not expect that today I read this shloka and tomorrow I start practicing and day after tomorrow I will be perfect. No, that is wrong expectation, because that's not going to happen immediately. Of course, if you can surrender to that level, or if you can stop desiring anything in 1 second, then it is quite possible. It can happen. But in general, a sadhaka or a devotee who is trying to do practice sadhana or the devotional service, he will have to go through this process for certain time, and then he will become perfect. So we have to be, that's why in devotional service we need enthusiasm, we need patience, and we need faith. We need all these three. So with patience, with enthusiasm, we have to keep faith that by doing this practice, someday I will become perfect. So though Krishna is giving so much liberty, right? That because Krishna is so kind that he is not expecting anyone to perfect himself in 1 second or 2 seconds or 1 day or 1 year or 10 years. It can take your own time, depends. But that also signifies that attaining perfection, moving towards the goal, is depends on us, how we practice. So we cannot blame anybody else. That because of that person I'm not able to do that. That we cannot do that because as per these shlokas, it's we who have to suppose who are supposed to control the material desires and stop the mind. So responsibility is more on us, and responsibility means controlling the mind. That responsibility, but our responsibility is to keep trying. Okay, keep trying, and then slowly we will attain perfection. So Krishna will give some more hints to Arjuna and to all of us, and then Arjuna will start speaking. We'll ask some questions, uh, and that those are also very useful for all of us. So that's why I mentioned that the sixth chapter is a chapter which is uh, very useful, is very instructive, and all the instructions in this chapter are uh, practically applicable to our sadhak, as a sadhak in Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada's last sentence is everything of this can be achieved directly by practicing Krishna consciousness, because in Krishna consciousness, when you are just thinking about Krishna, working up for him, then we discuss that it's already become samadhi because you have pinpointed focus or attention on that. Right. So let us see tomorrow more details about what Krishna tells and how we can actually apply this. Uh, Thank you very much, Hare Krishna. Today is Ram Navami here, so I just wanted to share that generally on Ram Navami, everybody says like, okay, Ravan represents figure of envy, uh, or giving pain to others, and his 10 heads represent the 10 anarthas that we have, like envy, greed, pride, ego, selfishness, all this that's there. So we generally pray that, okay, please remove all those obstacles from my heart so that I can do service. I can encourage your mind. But there is one more prayer that can be done, right? Um Ram, Lord Ramchandra used monkeys as his army, right? And monkeys are uh, species whose mind is never stable. The monkeys can never remain stable at one place, very difficult. But if but their only qualification was that they were surrendered to Sugriva, their leader, and whatever Sugriva tells, they were ready to do, or whatever Lord Ramchandra will tell, they will do. And that was their qualification, and that's how they got used into this very big service, right, to helping Lord Ram to pass over the ocean and all this everything. Right? So if you read the Ramayan's pastimes, um, the pastime of Angad or pastime of Hanuman, they have done when Hanuman also went, he burnt Lanka, right? He destroyed all the trees and everything, because that is his nature as a monkey, Vanar. That is his nature. He acted by his nature. When Angad went, he also acted by his nature. So, but because they were just surrendered and they were ready to do whatever Lord Ramchandra want, so they got used in this great. They were able to serve directly, right? So, like that, we can also. So, even if we have faults, Even if we have shortcomings, we are not perfect. Our mind is not good. Our character is not good. We are not in proper situation. But still, if we are just ready to surrender, and then we can, if we pray that whatever situation I am in, whatever way I am, please engage me in your service, and I'm ready to do whatever you want me to do. Right. So then that is also one way of praying to Lord Ram, that my mind is also like monkey. I'm not able to control it. So help me to engage. So because Prabhupada says it is possible by Krishna consciousness. So we can take this other way around also, because we don't know how many anarthas we have. Right. So can pray to Lord Ram, to Lord Hanuman, to Sugriva, everyone, that please engage us. Lord Ram may not directly, but at least Hanuman, Sugriva, they can engage us. Okay, so that's I thought, just sharing this one realization about how we can pray in different ways to Lord Ram. Okay, thank you very much. So let's see the next shlokas tomorrow. It's very interesting for us. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.